Okay, welcome everyone.
Yeah.
It is 7 o'clock, so we're going to get things rolling. Thank you everyone who came out in the rain tonight. You couldn't have your antennas plugged in anyway, so what better place to be? It's not often that we get ham radio A-listers, but we got Sebastián KI2D to come on and talk about some software that he wrote. I signed up pretty early to help out as the beta tester, and it's been an interesting ride to see the different permutations of this very basic tool into what we have now. So we can go ahead and jump in. So Sebastián, you want to share your screen and take it away?
Sure. Let me get everything ready here. Hold on. Can you see my screen with the presentation? Yep. And that's perfect. Wanted to test that. We're good. We're ready to go. You can hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you.
So before I forget, I want to get a sense of who in the room has done portable operations. Like, have you done parks on the air? Have you done summits on the air? Anything like that? I can see some hands going up. Let me put it this way. Who has not done parks on the air? Good.
You only got 2, I think.
Good. So I'm not going to try to convince you to operate portable, because I guess that you've thought about it already. Some of you have done SOTA, POTA. I don't know how many SOTA summits you have nearby, but there's plenty of programs coming up, like World Wildlife, Flora and Fauna. Field Day is a classic portable operation. Winter Field Day is more of a challenge. There's QSO parties is another big portable. But then you have all the newcomers like counties, islands on the air, lighthouses on the air, castles, towers, bunkers, mills, silos, tiles, and even toilets on the air. It is a thing. Thankfully, the rules for toilets on the air allow to activate while you're near the toilet, and you don't have to necessarily be in the toilet while you activate. I think that was very gracious of the organizers to consider it that way.
Use the toilet for an antenna.
Yeah. Most of the time it's like it's a 2-meter kind of activation at events like Hamvention or some hacker conventions, which is where the whole thing started. I mean, why bother operating portable? You know it. It's preparedness is the best practice to be ready to operate in case of an emergency. There's nothing like going out to a park every day or every week and setting up a temporary station to really learn how to set up a temporary station. It gives you alternatives. A lot of people live in HOAs or live in apartments or in cities where they can't operate, and it gives them a place to go operate that has actually a very great low noise floor, and it gets you outside. It gets you to it's a different place. It tends to be very cost efficient. A portable station, you can get a $400 to $500 radio and spend $100 in antennas and another $50 on batteries, and you're set. You don't need much more than that. And finally, it's fun. I mean, you all of you know it. You've been doing it, so I'm not going to try to stress that out. Now, how many of you have thought about operating portable with your phone? Raise your hand if you've done portable operations with a phone or a tablet. Raise your hand if you do it with paper.
Sometimes.
A couple of hands, I think.
Yep, you got a
I don't know
couple.
if I can see the entire room, but I saw a couple of hands. And raise your hand if you bring your entire PC with a monitor and a keyboard and a mouse for your parks on the air activation.
A few times.
Some of you have done it. that's what I want to try to convince you here today is that to give that a consideration, and if possible, maybe consider doing it with my application. So again, why bother logging on your phone? The first thing is weight and size. You don't have to carry a 3, 4, 5 pound laptop with you. If you're logging on paper, that weight is definitely to your advantage. But if you're logging with a laptop, it's a significant weight, and the battery life sucks. Like if you can get 1 hour out of a Windows laptop, you're lucky. And you have to be mindful of having it charged, and which is not always the case. So the phone is something you always carry with you. This day and age, nobody's forgetting the phone at home. Nobody's forgetting to charge their phone. We're used to the routine of always having the phone in our pocket. It's always ready to go. It's always charged. Plus, you would be surprised, the world of portable loggers is where most of the innovation is happening in amateur radio logging these days. Like the desktop loggers kind of got stuck in 2005 or so, not to say 1995. And they haven't added many features ever since then, where a lot of the portable loggers have been innovating and coming up with new ideas. So it might not be for you. If you like paper or if you like your laptop, it doesn't have to be for you, but maybe it is. So what I'm trying to tell all of you is that it's worth at least trying to see if logging with a phone might make you happier than logging with whatever else you're logging today. The whole portable logging scene started with an Australian application called VK Portable Logger, which was one of the first. It was actually the first application that would let you log summits on the air and worldwide flora and fauna and silos on the air, which are a couple of very popular activities in Australia. Up until VK Portable Logger, loggers will let you do one thing at a time. You were either logging your general log, or you were logging field day, or you were logging POTA, or you were logging SOTA. But no logger up until then would let you do two things at the same time. Then came Hammers, or actually HamRS is the right way to pronounce it, I've learned, which opened the door to, it was much more popular than VK Portable Logger. And it's actually the application that showed me that logging on my phone was not only possible, but actually nicer than logging on a laptop. There's apps like World Radio League that have been creating a lot of noise lately. Smart Logger is another good candidate that both have desktop and mobile applications that let you combine and do cloud syncing. And finally, there's Ham2K Portable Logger, also known as PoLo, which is my baby. What are the advantages of logging on your phone? First, it is simpler by design. You have a very limited screen size. You can't afford to waste pixels. When you want to solve a problem, you cannot do it the way N1MM does it by just throwing another window at the problem. I don't know if you've ever done any kind of contest logging with N1MM, but if you have less than 12 windows open, you're doing it wrong. And that's why you need like a 40-inch monitor to just have everything you need to have around you visible, just in case you need it. And then at the end of a contest, your neck hurts from having to look one way or the other like a little bird trying to chase what's information you're trying to find. So mobile applications start from scratch with a much limited real estate space to solve a problem. So we have to work on better design that shows you the information you need when you need it and not anything else. And I think that makes for much better applications that are simpler, but they're not necessarily less featured than applications like N1MM or N3FJP or DXLog. Another very important factor is location. Phones have GPS sensors on them. Most tablets do too. So mobile applications can take advantage of this and offer features that desktop applications don't have. There's no single desktop application that will automatically pick the nearest park around you. Like phone applications can do that. If you're using any desktop application, you have to go and do the search on a website to find what is the park number and then enter it on Entry-FJP's fields. With PoLo, you open the app and it just picks the nearest park because it has a GPS. Mobile phones also applications have to deal with being online and offline, which is something that most desktop applications don't even consider. They're meant to work with whatever connection you have with your network, and they don't have this idea of going in and out of online and offline and having download data that they might need later. Some apps do, like in 1MM, you can download a database of names for a contest, but no application would like download the entire database of parks on the air like PoLo does, just in case you happen to be offline when you go to your new park. And finally, like I said before, mobile applications are coming up with a lot of new ideas that older applications are not necessarily bringing to the table lately. Most regular loggers, most desktop loggers have been stuck with the feature set they had, like I said, in 2005. There are some shortcomings in mobile apps. The main one is that there's no cat control at this point. A lot of us are working to try to solve this. It's part of the problem is that both Android and iOS are more restrictive with what apps can connect to. It's part of like their security approach that makes them safer devices than your desktop. But it's kind of like a problem when you try to do cat control on radios that all they have is an old style serial port to try to connect to. And even modern radios that have Bluetooth cannot connect with an iPhone directly, for example. So that's one of the main shortcomings of mobile apps. We are working heavily on that. And my expectation is that by 2027, it's no longer going to be a problem. We're going to have solved all the problems, and most mobile apps will have at least some basic cat control. Contest support is something else that has been limited until now. We're working hard on that. I'll show you later all the things that PoLo can do, but that's something again that if you were planning on running a contest, your answer was usually just use N1MM like 99% of what people do. That is changing, but right now not all contests are supported. And finally, again, it might be an advantage that creates better design, but at the same time, having a smaller screen size is a shortcoming. It limits how much information you can have visible at the same time. And sometimes you want more than what the phone allows. You can go to a tablet that has a bigger screen, but it's still more limited than that 30, 40-inch monitor you can quickly connect to your desktop computer or your laptop. And finally, interruptions, because you happen to be using for logging the same device where your wife is going to call to see how much longer you're going to be in the park. So you're trying to log that 10th contact to finish your activation, and you're getting your friends' notifications texting you on Discord, your wife calling, you're getting all the noise at the same time on the same device. You can solve this by having a second device, although that offsets the advantage of having the phone always with you. Or you can learn to control notifications on your phone, set it to do not disturb mode and things like that. So most of the shortcomings are problems you have to consider, but they're not a real reason not to give it a try. But instead of just talking, let me give you a quick demo of what PoLo can do in particular. Can you see the phone on the screen? Let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger at least. So PoLo is, I'm running it right now on a simulator of an iPhone. It also runs on iPads. It runs on Android phones. It runs on Android tablets. And if you have one of the newer Macs, you can even run it on your MacBook or laptop, because it lets you run iPad apps. The PoLo is just a list of operations. What we call an operation is one outing on the field, and you can quickly create a new one. And it knows your station call sign because you've entered in the past. Let's say we want to do a Parks on the Air. I pick Parks on the Air, and it knows the locations, the parks that are near me. So very quickly, the most likely park I want to activate is Scissors Creek. All I need to do is tap here. In the past, other apps will require you to enter the full reference of the park you were trying to activate. The park you were trying to activate. But one of the things that actually made me start using PoLo is I hated apps that would require you to type the entire US-10090 for the park reference. In PoLo, you don't need to type the dash. You can type US 900, or you can type just the number. Or even better, you can just type the name of the park. It will filter parks that have the word trail in the name sorted by distance from you. So if you want to add the Appalachian Trail, all you have to do is Appalachian. You don't have to remember that Appalachian is 4556. Although I'm sure that there's more than one POTA activator that has some of their favorite parks number memorized. You don't need to know the number. You just need to be near the park, and that's all you need to do to activate it. And as POTA allows, you can pick 2 parks, and now you're activating a twofer. If it happens, I don't think that Scissors Creek crosses Appalachian Trail. It's on me to decide. PoLo is not going to stop me from selecting those 2 parks. But if I'm at a twofer or a threefer, I can add the 3 parks, and those are my parks for the activation. Then all I need to do is enter my frequency. Let's do 40 meters. I just type the frequency, and it's marked there. And I can go here and spot myself on the POTA website. You don't have to go on a separate device and open the POTA website, log in there, enter your information, and to get spotted. All you need to do is click self-spot here. And in fact, I'm not going to click it because people don't like it when I spot myself and I'm not really at a park. They tend to complain to me when I do that. But actually, a little known secret is that there's a park that POTA lets you select. It's called K-Test. So with this park, I can actually spot myself. And if I go to the POTA website.
Yep, my phone just went off, Sebastian.
You got an alert?
Yep, my ham alert went off. You're at a park.
Yeah, that's why I don't like to do this. But when I do, I put the park. So if I look here, I am most likely going to show up listed on the POTA website somewhere. There I am. 2200 KITD. If I look at the messages, it says that I just started the operation. So I don't have to go on the website. And I don't even have to go on the website to look at the spots. I just click on this tab, and I can see anybody who is in 40 meters right now or 20 meters. I can see their frequency. I can quickly log them. If there's 2 people in the same park, I can see that information. If there was somebody with multiple parks, it'll show it more than one tree here. So all of that gets pulled from the POTA website and shown you here on the screen. And you can see yourself to confirm that your spot went out correctly. And in fact, after I do spotting, if I respot, I can respot every 10 minutes now. And I don't even have to remember to respot myself every 10 minutes to keep those QSOs coming. I'm going to stop the auto respotting because that'll annoy some people that have me on their alerts. And then finally, all I need to do at this point is log the calls. I call CQ, Kilo India to Delta, parks on the air, and I hear Kilo 0 Golf Romeo. And I type it here, and it shows me their name. It can do a lookup. It tells me their location. It names Iowa. In fact, if that distance of 64,000 miles, if Clint tells me that he is at a park, say park 3400, the distance changes because now I know that he is at a park and not at his QTH. I don't know if you notice again, you don't have, when you come here, you don't have to type. All I need to do is type 4500. In fact, let me show it with a keyboard. You can see what I'm typing. I don't need to type the US part of it. All I need to type is the numbers. And if it's at a twofer, I just press space and type the numbers again. and that's it. It picks up the two references. It tells me that X2, because he's at two parks, if I log him, his entry will have two little trees, and I don't need to remember to type the parts at the phone. Computers are very good at processing information. They can guess your park number very easily, and so you don't have to enter it. In fact, if I were working Victor Echo 1 Sierra Kilo, Victor Echo 1 Sierra Kilo, I don't know if you noticed, but this changed to Canada because he's a Canadian call sign. He can only be activating a park in Canada. But if he were to say that he was operating out of Echo Alpha 1, which is Spain, then this changes to Spain. So PoLo looks at the call sign you entered, figures out what country they're in, and their POTA reference is prefixed with that country for the references. So PoLo tries to save you typing as much as it can. You've noticed that I've been kind of sliding sideways here to all the controls that let me change things. I can clicking here will show them all at the same time. And in fact, there are more options for me to select. If I care about doing lakes and lagoons on the air, hunting lakes and lagoons on the air or SOTA like this, I can include them here. Or I can just remove them if they're not a thing I care about right now. Now, the reason this is normally scrolling sideways is, again, I have limited screen real estate. So if this were to be open, I can only see two more calls in this. And if I have more options here, it'll close even more. So PoLo tries to come down and limit the information to what you need. And you can do things without even having to open the fields. For example, I'm at 7200 right now. If I were to type 7250, PoLo will change the frequency for me. I don't have to type open and show and close. If I type 0.254, it'll change to 7254. If I say right now it says SSB, I can say LSB because I care about getting the right mode, or I can change to CW, even if I'm 7254. But let me get back to SSB. PoLo, if I were to change to 7035, PoLo, if you see the description here, it knows that 7035 is CW. So it'll do that change for me. As soon as I change it, it changes my frequency, but also my mode to CW. I can also type 20M, and it'll change me to 20 meters. And I can just type a frequency there, and it'll change me from CW to phone. I can type QRV, and this will spot me with QRV, or I can type QSY if I change frequencies, and it spot me with a common QSY. I can also do QRX, or finally do QRT, which I'm going to do now because this will mark my spot in the POTA website as no longer active. There's lots of little commands in PoLo like that you can type here, and it's hard to learn what they are, but there's a very good documentation online, and if you type RTFM, it'll open the manual for you. You can so you can read it here and find out all the features. Why is this? Oh, it's opening a new tab. That's weird. I might have pressed something weird in the simulator. PoLo can do a couple of other things. How many of you have been at a park, and let's say I'm working Whiskey 0I, Whiskey 0I, and Andrew tells me I'm at park 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I say excellent. I'm about to log him, and he says, "Oh, please stand by for a second operator," because he's out there with I don't know. Give me a call sign from the room.
Whiskey 0, Mike Echo Sierra.
Did you hear that?
Whiskey 0, Mike Echo Sierra.
Yeah.
So Whiskey 0, Mike Echo Sierra. Michael, thank you so much for supporting Ham2K. You and Whiskey 0I are in the log. Thank you very much. And I save this, and both contacts are in the log. And if you notice the trees, both contacts have the same park reference that I only had to enter once. I don't have to duplicate it because I get all the calls from what I enter here. And if you happen to run into one of those times when there's let me change so I can use my keyboard, where there's 5 people operating at the same time and they pass the microphone and you're excited because you got 5 QSOs all together and they happen to be in where did it go here? They happen to be at twofer where they are in 4678 and 3433. Like entering this information in a regular log would have driven you mad. You would have been angry at 5 contacts at 2 parks. Whereas now all you need to enter is 5 calls and 2 parks instead of 10 pieces of information. But right away, I got 10 more contacts and I completed my activation. I got 8 QSOs, but counts as 14 POTA contacts because of all the twofers I've gotten in the activation. This is something that we came up with in PoLo and that I'm very happy to see other applications are now using. I have no problem with other applications finding inspiration in the ideas we have in PoLo. We found inspiration in plenty of other applications. I don't think that there's any kind of copying or plagiarism or anything like that. In fact, I find it as a validation of the ideas we have. So there's nothing that confirms that the idea is a good one than seeing other people using that same idea. Another thing that PoLo lets you do, which is you kind of have to see a video or somebody doing it, is one of the reasons a lot of people like to log on paper is because they can scratch parts of partial calls they hear while they're working a pileup. If I'm working a pileup and I hear November Kilo 2, and then on top of that, I hear somebody else, okay, Kilo November 2 Yankee, I can type // and now I have this partial call, the Kilo November 2 Yankee, and let's say that on top of that, I also heard a foxtrot there in the middle of it that I kind of like understood enough. I can put them all here with // I go back to the first full call that I have here. Kilo November 2 Yankee, you're 5-9 in the park, thank you. And I press enter. It goes in the log. It gets clear from here, but the rest stays. So now I can say, okay, the call ending in Foxtrot. And I hear, I don't know, November Fox 5 Foxtrot. Robert, you're 5-9 into the park, thank you. Press enter. And November Kilo 2. Oh, November Kilo 2 X-ray. Oh, excellent, Stephen. You're in the log. And that way I can manage a pileup much easier than if I were doing just one call and then have to call Q or Z again and have to battle the pileup. And this is something that, like I said, a lot of people prefer to do with paper, but PoLo lets you do it straight there in the call. What else can I show you? Oh, something else that other applications don't have is PoLo lets you put things in the log that are not just contacts. So I could say note, and if you've seen a video of me, I always make a little joke here, but it has happened in the past and it's true. This is where the cop showed up. I can remember when that happened. Or if you're in a pileup, sometimes I know that NK2X is actually what I typed, but it was actually NK2Y. It might be easier for me to just type 2Y here and then look at it later than to tap here, come here, delete, press yes, and save. Especially if you're in the middle of a pileup, just typing note space and a couple of letters might be faster than tapping on the call to edit it. Or you can enter any kind of notes that you want. You can also type weather, and PoLo will find the local weather around you, 75 degrees, 86% wind, no chance of rain. If I press enter, the weather gets saved in the log. So I can go back and see what was the weather when I was doing my operation. I can type solar, and it gives me the solar weather and I can save it in the operation if I want to remember why it was so crappy that day or why the bands were so great that day. We're adding support for other types of notes here. Like, for example, we want to be able to record when you spotted yourself. I find that that's useful to see that I'm spotting myself, and that's when I get a wave of context, or maybe it's not working, and that'll tell me that the bands really are bad that day. And we have a lot of other features here, but I want to show let me change K-test to a park. So after I'm done with my activation, I go to manage operation logs, and I have an ADIF file for my POTA activation and a separate ADIF file that's called my full activation. One of the reasons why we have two files is, first, there's no single ADIF file that can represent all the combinations of things you're doing at a park. One good example is this. If I were at a twofer, I need to provide two separate files for POTA. My single ADIF export will never be enough to submit a twofer to POTA until they update their system. You need to submit a separate file with each park. PoLo does that for you. Now, if I were also doing, say, lakes and lagoons on the air, because there's a lake nearby, now I go here, and you can probably guess it, I have a separate file to send to YOTA that has the right information that YOTA requires. Plus, these three files have the minimum set of fields needed for that activity, whereas the full ADIF includes phone names, locations, addresses of all the contacts I made, which, if you're in California or Europe, will be a violation of some of the privacy laws they've enacted to send the file with all that information to a third party like POTA and YOTA. So by having this separate file, I save yourself from committing a crime, just in case somebody comes knocking at the door. What else can happen? Say that you go out, like we showed earlier, that you go to the park. Let's say I went with Clint to the park. I put the station calls on both of our calls. And now when I go to export, it'll have the files for me and the files for Clint with the right call signs and the right information. Even if, like some people like to do when they do this kind of activation, we work each other during the event, especially if we do it over, say, 2 meters, then his log will not have his call, but will have mine. And my log will not have my contact, but will have the one I made with Clint. So those little details, that comes from having gone out and done the things and being annoyed that the application didn't do it, and coming back home and fixing it. PoLo has been mostly developed through frustration and pain of going out and being annoyed at something that didn't work as nicely as it could have. And trust me, I know there's so many things it still doesn't do, but we tried to make it cover the biggest annoyances and the biggest challenges you find when you're operating outside.
Can you go work a spot?
I'm sorry?
Can you go work a spot? Go hunt somebody?
If you hunt somebody, you can. If I tap here, let's say this one that has a park, and I go to the spotting tab, it will now tell me spot KKK at 14235. And it'll spot them at that park in the POTA spots.
So go to the spots tab and hunt somebody.
If I'm hunting, yes.
Yeah.
I find here and I want to work, say, N7 CVZ. It picks up the call sign, it puts it here, it picks up the frequency they're in, it's here. It picks up all the information, their park reference, it's saved here. It's all ready for me to just press send, and that'll log them from the spots. I can filter the spots and limit it to only SOTA or POTA. I can filter out spots that are not from North America. I can make it so that the spots are limited to the same band and mode I'm working at. That way, the list is much shorter. It brings spots from POTA and flora and fauna, for example, here, because that's what I've selected. But you can decide not to include any of the other sources and only keep POTA. And in fact, you see this long list that you see here is mostly because as a developer, I'm testing all of these combinations. But in app features, you can disable all the ones you don't really care. And in fact, when you first start the application, it mostly looks like this. It only has POTA enabled and nothing else. We have support for 13 colonies, for field day, for the North American QSO party, for all other QSO parties, for CQ word prefixes. I recently added support for VHF contests in Europe. We're adding support for state park events. The Florida, Georgia, and Ohio have they're kind of like QSO party-like events around their parks, their state parks. I want to show something else that PoLo can let you do, which is I can have added, let me remove this. I can have set QSO parties. And when is here it is. Iowa QSO party.
Coming up in September.
I need to update the dates. You're in Iowa. You run the Iowa QSO party, right?
Our club does, yes.
Yeah, the club sponsors it. Yeah, I haven't updated the dates past July, I believe. So I need to do it. But give me a county. Oh, story.
Story, yep.
No? What's the abbreviation?
Right. Oh,
STR.
Yeah, STR.
STR. Okay, here. STR, story. It can do spotting to the QSO Party Hub and to APRS. I don't know if you've seen, but if you're going to be operating mobile for a QSO Party, there's a great APRS spotting service that has been created. It was started here in New York. And PoLo supports spotting you to those. And for example, now I'm doing a Parks on the Air, but I don't know if you noticed, now it has a QSO Party location exchange here. All the contacts I entered have no location, so they don't do anything to my score. But I can go and edit. Do you have a Washington County? Yes, you do. All the states have a Washington County. So if I add this, if I save this with Wash, and I save this with, no, it's the same. Okay. Well, give me the. Is there a county that has a weird name that you never remember what the short exchange is?
Alameda.
Yeah, Alameda.
Alum. So I type alum. And if I press space, it'll pick the ALL from it. It does a search for all the counties for you. It supports county line, and it supports, or at least it tries to score your contacts correctly, your multipliers, your bonus stations if there's any. We've collected the rules for all 47, I believe, QSO parties in North America right now, and we try to keep them updated. And if you notice, you can run a Parks on the Air and QSO party log at the same time, and probably won't surprise anybody when I go here at the very end. I have my Iowa QSO party Cabrillo log, and Clint has his Iowa QSO party Cabrillo log if he wants to submit that separately. So all the things I throw at this operation, and we could have done this with any other. Well, I don't have any other activity. I disabled them all in the settings. But if I were to say I want to do summits on the air, it downloads the summits so you can search for them offline. And the app, every couple of weeks, it refreshes all this data in case there's been new summits added or things like that. So I can now add a summit. I don't know why I picked summits because there's probably not many nearby, but I add my SOTA park. And again, if I go and manage operational logs, I now have all the logs that I can export related to what I did. There's even ways of doing and let me see if I have one of these. I don't think I have. No, I've done with a friend. We've done a multi-single portable operation for the New York QSO party and for the New England QSO party, in which we operated from multiple parks that were all county lines throughout the contests. So my PoLo log in that case, it lets me have an entire log for the contest, but in the middle of the log, I break and I change parks and I change counties. So it knows how to score as I change to different counties and I keep moving. And at the very end, it produces one Cabrillo for the QSO party and one ADIF file for each of the parks we stopped at, all out of a single log that shows all that combined. Too bad I don't have it here, but oh, no, this was a different one. This was before. This was 2024, I think. You can see a nice map of your contacts. If you want to get a sense, the colors show you the bands. Purple is 80, blue is 40, 20 is 20, green is 20. You can see it kind of like with a globe that shows you the curvature of the Earth, and it helps get a nicer view of the long distance one in particular. What else can I show? Clint, any questions?
Anybody have questions or?
So a question about GPS. I assume the app can read the GPS from the phone and determine things like the grid. There you go.
Yeah.
I don't suppose there's any future that it would also be able to calculate the county you're in based on the
Yes.
GPS or whether you're in a twofer.
So let me go in order. I'm planning on having a feature that it follows, it updates your GPS location as you go. It will be like a switch here that says keep updated or something like that. So if you're doing a mobile operation, it'll update that as you move. I want to make it so that you can we will have boundaries for things like counties and even parks. Though the boundaries for parks are really
Tricky.
The quality is not the same for all states. There are some states that have good boundary data, others that have zero. So that might be a limitation. As to twofers, I don't want to touch that problem because there's a lot of controversy as to where exactly. Not all parks are twofers, and only certain locations of parks are twofers. And collecting an authoritative database of those is a problem I don't want to get into. If somebody comes up and does a database that everybody finds trustworthy, I'll adopt it and I'll put it in the app. I don't want to be that guy because a lot of people will be screaming at me. People get angry about twofers other people do. And I think that's not the best use of someone's time. But I also don't want to be the target of their anger.
So full disclosure, the guy who asked the question, Pat, is our POTA mapping rep for Iowa. So he knows about getting yelled at.
He knows about
for
anger.
twofers.
Yeah. One thing, let me show you something here. He probably has noticed that, but who did you say? Who asked the question?
N0HR.
N0HR. So in PoLo, when you type some names, we keep a database. I like to call it a list of who's who and who isn't in amateur radio. And we'd like to acknowledge the people who volunteer for the programs that get us outside. So Pat will get this little tree and this notice that tells other people who are contacting him that he's the POTA map rep for Iowa. I hope that 99.9% of the time, this means somebody will tell Pat, thank you for your work with POTA. Although it's not impossible that somebody will say, "Oh, you're the guy who deleted the park I like to go to, you bastard." So if somebody has said anything mean to you, Pat, I apologize for having directed their anger. But otherwise, thank you for the work you do with POTA. And if you were to type my call sign, it'll give you this little message that tells you, and there's nothing that makes me happier than working somebody on the air that's using PoLo and that tells me on the air. It really puts a smile on my face. There's also these little coffee cups, and if you go on the spots, you'll find a couple of them on the air right now. That's the people who have donated to PoLo, and I love to work them and tell them, hey, thank you for helping, for supporting PoLo. So I've sprinkled PoLo with those little emojis to show people. Some of them are famous YouTubers. Some of them are just people who have been friendly to me at Hamcation and bought me a beer. I said, what name do you want to have in the PoLo notes? Oh, I want to be Mr. Barbecue. Done. If you ask nicely, anything can happen. Nelson, you have sorry, it's Nelson or Ron? I don't know if the last name or first name, but
Yeah,
It's
Ron's the first name.
Got it. You have a
KN0R. You're typing things in pretty fast. Do you have a keyboard hooked up to your phone?
I'm using the keyboard, my computer keyboard. You can hook up a Bluetooth keyboard to your phone, and that'll work too. So that's one solution to having worries about typing in a small keyboard. I have to say I've done several contests, including QSO parties, where I've logged about 1,000 QSOs with my thumbs on a small phone. I had the tablet in my backpack and I didn't bring it out because the phone was so convenient as I was like working the microphone, had the phone, just logging with my thumb. And I'm typing fast here, but especially if you're doing phone, if you're doing CW is a little bit different, but if you're doing phone, all you need to do is type at the speed you're saying their call sign back. You know, you don't need to type N7BBQ. You need to type November 7 Bravo Bravo Quebec. So that's a very slow rate of typing that pretty much anybody can do on a phone. So don't be scared of the small phone keyboards. Give it a shot.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Any questions in the room or anybody else in Zoom in the
Yeah.
meet?
Go ahead, Skip.
Yeah, you had the mic.
Yep, it's got you.
it. Okay. Sebastian, this is Skip AD0H, and thank you for your presentation. I frequently would be sitting in the back seat of the car and the rig is on. And currently I pick up a notebook and I start writing calls as fast as I can. And I know it's kind of messy, but it works. If I pick up the phone, then how do I enter a call? How do I get the keyboard, or is it audio recognition?
So as soon
Okay,
as you
how
tap,
do we get that far?
as soon as you touch on their call, the keyboard
Okay.
shows up,
Okay, including the numbers across the top.
including the numbers across. Because on especially on iPhone, to enter a number, you have to press this key and then you have the numbers here.
Right.
Although I don't know if you know, there's a little pro tip. If you tap, you don't lift your finger, you move your finger and then you lift it, it goes back. So it saves you a couple of taps. But there's an option in PoLo that lets you have this row up here that lets you get numbers and periods or slash, which are the two letters we are concerned about in for logging.
Okay, so
And if you're
I've
using-
learned something already, so I thank you for that. Okay, do you hold the phone, and this sounds kind of basic, you hold the phone in your left hand and type with your right? Do you have a clamp to hold the phone?
I do two things. Let me see if I can show here. Like my normal style of operation is I'm talking with this hand.
Hold
I
on.
have my phone in this,
I got
and
your.
I'm typing with my thumb. Oh wait,
Yep, I gotta fix
I'm
this.
still sharing.
No.
Can you make
Well,
the?
I hit all the other views. So
Let me stop sharing, and that should bring my camera.
yep. Let me go to.
But I have the microphone on my right hand, the phone on the left, and I just type with my thumb on the keyboard. Other times, if I'm in the car and I have the phone mount on the car,
Yeah.
I just leave it there and I just type with one finger or two as I'm using the mic. That tends to be, I don't need to use two thumbs to type because I don't need to type that fast. I also have, I don't have it here with me. I have a small folding keyboard that's smaller. It's smaller than the phone and it opens up, that I use with a tablet when I'm going to sit at a picnic table, for example. That's my preferred setup.
Okay, second question.
Yep.
Okay, I'm looking for a logging software I could also use on an Apple computer at home. I used to use the M3FJP on a Windows computer, and I've switched. Is this possibly a substitute for home use also?
It's right now, PoLo is heavily focused towards portable operation and not towards managing your general log at home.
Okay,
I'm right now we're working very hard towards having a desktop version of PoLo that runs on Windows, Linux, and Macs. The first pass at that problem will be an application that's pretty much the same as PoLo, but that works on desktops. So again, it will not be ideal for managing your entire log, but I'm also like you say, you're looking for an app to manage your logs on your Mac. I am looking for an app to manage my logs on my Mac. I don't like any of the apps that are out there right now. They all have something that annoys me, which is exactly how PoLo got started. So I want to build I want to take a stab at building a better desktop logger. Right now, this is, I mean, I work full time as a software developer, and PoLo is what I do between, I don't know, 6 in the morning and 9 in the morning, and then most weekends when I don't have anything to do with the family. So I spend about 15 to 30 hours a week working on PoLo, which is not enough for all the things I want to do, but eventually we'll have a better desktop experience. So all I can say is be patient and we'll get there.
okay, that's encouraging. Thank you.
And I didn't say it earlier, I think, but PoLo is a free, it's 100% free application, and it's open source. And I made it open source as a way to force myself to not rest on my laurels and always keep making it better. But also, if something happens to me or if I get tired, the app will not die. Other people can pick it up and continue the work we've done. Having said that, I much welcome contributions and donations that are voluntary. So basically, PoLo is pay what you want, and you can pay $0 and still use all of the features of the app. But I want to be able to dedicate as much time as possible to this. So I welcome those contributions and donations, and I believe that many in the room have already given to PoLo, and I'm really, really thankful for that. We also have something that started a couple of months ago, which we added a cloud sync service. So PoLo will always keep a backup of all the contacts you make. If you lose your phone, if it gets damaged, they're all saved in the cloud, and that's free. There's you don't have to pay for that, and you can get access to recent activations for free too. If you want to get access to your entire history of everything you've done, and you want to get the fast response, there's a paid tier, and it's $25 a year, so it's not really that expensive, or $2.99 a month, because that's how Apple does things. But again, the sync service, you can use all of the features of the sync service without even paying. It's just a little bit slower so that it doesn't have as much impact on the servers. So we slow down the free users. But my business model is I want people to give me money because it makes them happy, because it makes them feel smart, because it makes them feel more efficient. They had a great experience with PoLo, and they think that sending me $5, $10, $20 is going to make them feel happy because it's going to make me happy. So that's my business model, and I'm hoping I can take it as far as I can, and work full time on this eventually. So that's my pitch for people to try PoLo. There's nothing to lose. It's free. You'll probably like it. It has lots of little things that make you faster, smarter, more efficient. It's what the cool kids do, like Clint, and it's always improving. It's like we keep releasing every month. Every week there's something new. Usually some small improvements, but sometimes we add a bunch of new features that support things like that, like doing roving QSO party with multiple parks, all from the same log. Mostly because I wanted to do it, and I wanted to be as efficient as possible doing it. So,
Hey, Sebastian, I got a question. I mean, we all wish we could be as cool as Clint, but I guess my question is there a feature coming that will allow us to like one-click upload to the POTA site the log at the end of the activation, and even take that uploaded to the cloud log and sync it with our home desktop app?
That's something we've been slowly working for a long time. The main barrier is that POTA doesn't support that yet. As part of the updates they're doing right now, they will include that feature. And trust me, I've been talking with all of their developers. They're all my best friends. The moment that becomes possible to do on the POTA website, I will not sleep that night to make sure that PoLo lets you do it.
All right.
But until they put it on their system, it's not going to be. There are ways to hack around it and kind of like try to do it, but there was one app that tried to do that and caused a lot of headaches for the POTA support team, and I don't want to be the guy that gives the POTA support team grief. I want to do it right, and that's why I'm waiting for them to do the official support.
Where does one find the app?
I'm sorry?
Where does one find the app to use?
So you can go to your favorite app store, either the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store, and search for Ham2K. PoLo is a bad search because you'll end up with all kind of random things. But Ham2K will give you this as the first result. Or you can go to polo.ham2k.com. I had that in one of my slides somewhere. But you can go to polo.ham2k.com, and that will also give you all the links that you need to. It has the links to to Android and iOS versions, and you can get it from there.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Sebastian?
The sound is cutting off. I didn't hear.
Oh, it might be that I have both microphones in my hand. There we go. I turned one off. So I have to tell you my rove story. I just did a 30 park rove here a couple weeks ago, and I logged mainly on my tablet on the dash with a keyboard. But then I got to a park where I had to get out of the vehicle, jump the fence, set up the antenna because I couldn't drive into the park. And I just grabbed my phone out of my pocket, and because of the sync service, my operation was still on my phone. and I made my 10 contacts in that park. When I got back in the truck, they showed up on the tablet because they were syncing automatically, and I just took off again. So that was really slick, that new feature. And then I forget the Ham's call sign that that passed away last year, taking his antenna down at a park. And because he was logging with PoLo, Sebastian was able to go into the back end of the log, find the contacts he hadn't submitted, and POTA let him submit posthumously the contacts, so everybody got credit for that guy's activation. So I thought that was a really cool thing that Sebastian did, to track that down and submit those, because that operator would have wanted those people to make their contacts. So
yeah, we try really, really hard not to lose a single QSO. If the app crashes on you for some reason, we might lose the QSO you were in the middle of, but anything you've saved gets saved in a database, gets saved in a backup file, gets sent to the cloud. We try really hard not to lose a single one.
Yeah. And that cloud is not free, so that's what he's spending his coffee money on. So
you can the backup part is free. So
No.
we are backing up every single contact.
it's not free for you.
Oh, it's not free for me. No, right now I'm spending about like $400 a month in servers. And not counting other services. I need to monitor the servers and but I mean we've people have been very generous and I'm not losing money, which is the most important part.
Well, I think it's an amazing app. I'm very blessed to have gotten in the beginning and helped steer this, and really feel like I helped contribute something and part of a community. It's been really neat when I get a work Sebastian, and that's why my phone was going off whenever he's spotted, because I've got him in my Ham alert, and when he's at a park, I get an alert that he's out. Any final questions for Sebastian before we let him go? Well, excellent presentation. Is exactly what I thought you would give. I appreciate it. I'm not kicking you off, but you can choose to leave if you don't want to sit through the business portion of our meeting.
Yeah, I'll skip the business. But thank you very much for having me. Thank you very much.
You can imagine it's June. It's June. You know what we're going to talk about? Field day.
Yeah. PoLo is. I wouldn't suggest PoLo for a big group doing field day, but it's getting there. We're going to use it here in Sullivan County.
We are going to put a link to PoLo on our website for the QSO party to encourage people to use it.
Yep. Great. Thank you, guys. Have a good luck with field day.
All right. Thanks, Sebastian.
Bye.